Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings, everyone, and welcome back to the STEM Files, where we serve as the voice of STEM talent and Black culture. In tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about investing in agricultural business in your communities. Supporting local agriculture is not only good for our health, but also good for our economy. As a proud member of the agricultural business, Muslima Muhammad believes in promoting sustainable and ethical practices in farming. From field to table, River City Market works tirelessly to bring you only the freshest and most nutritious produce. Let's continue to invest in our local farmers and businesses and help build a healthier and more sustainable future for all. So family, stay tuned for more after this.
Believe in these false prophets, I say I bet he lying. No football, New York City Giants. Girl dad, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. When we teaching our babies, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. Heavy science. When we teaching our women, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. Heavy science. When we teach men, we teach them heavy.
All right, family. Once again, welcome back to the STEM Files. We serve as the voice of STEM talent and Black culture. As this theme song says, we teach man and woman heavy science on this platform. I am Tariq Muhammad, aka Tariq Cardiac. I'm a biomedical research scientist with a concentration in cardiovascular pathobiology, which is the study of how diseases form in the heart and blood vessels. I'm always joined by my right hand. Well, most of the time, joined by my right hand, Jabril. Go for it, sir.
Yes, sir. Assalamu alaikum, peace, love, and blessings, everyone. Jabril Muhammad, aka Jabrillion Engineer, civilian mechanical engineer with a focus on naval ship fluid systems and a background in material science and engineering. The study of the various material classes and how they can utilize solutions, making things stronger, faster, lighter, more effective, and efficient.
Praise be to Allah. Family, tonight we're going to be talking about a variety of things, really. Tonight's show is about investing in agricultural business in your community. We want to be able to make sure that this platform sheds light on tying the Black farmer to the needs in the city. So we're going to be talking about the plight of the Black farmer. Why is it important that we support Black farmers? You know, I got a comment on Instagram saying we should support all farmers from white to Black. And that's a very true statement. We should support all farmers, but there's a deficit in the way we support Black farmers as compared to our white counterparts. So we're going to be busting that open tonight, as well as agricultural success, building business with agriculture, what it takes to take the products that you grow from the ground and place it into a city near you. River City Market has been doing a fantastic job with making sure that the things that we grow out in the field makes it to your plate in your community. So we're going to be talking a lot about that. But first, before we do any of that, I want to go ahead and set the tone for tonight's program with a word from the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan on the need to support Black farmers by setting up a ministry of agriculture. Check it out.
We need a ministry of agriculture. The Black farmers are suffering. We need to unite our Black farmers, make their land productive, and tie that land to the needs of the city. A ministry of agriculture. The Native Americans have the largest tracts of land, and they are willing, according to what I learned from Brother Bob Brown of the All African People's Revolutionary Party, they are willing to lease millions of acres if we are ready to go to work. To do what? As long as we keep our mouth in the kitchen of our enemy, we will never have good health. We must provide food for ourselves because the merchants of death are feeding the American people, and they are tied to the pharmaceutical companies They create disease on one hand through the improper raising of food and livestock, and then they make pills on the other hand to correct what they've created.
Well, family, that was a small clip from our leader, teacher, and guide, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, on the importance of supporting Black farmers, as well as establishing a strong and successful ministry of agriculture. Now, tonight's guest is the daughter of the proprietor of River City Markets. This is Muslima Muhammad. She is the manager of the store here in Richmond, and she's pretty much the manager of the River City Market movement as well, because even though she's not physically living in Virginia, she's still doing her part to make sure that River City Market is successful no matter where she is. So please, family, welcome to the platform, our sister, Muslima Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum. You're on mute, sis. There you go.
Am I unmuted now?
Yes, you're good.
Okay. Wa alaikum salam, everyone. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, whom came in person as Master Fard Muhammad. I further bear witness that the most honorable Elijah Muhammad is our exalted Christ, and that the honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan is the Jesus Messiah in our midst. In those wonderful names, I want to greet the both of you, the lovely hosts, as well as all of the other believers and anyone that's listening in the greetings words of peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa
Alaikum salam, man.
Thank you all so much for having me on. And I guess, yeah, just as Brother Tariq mentioned, I'm Sister Muslima Muhammad. My mom is the owner of River City Market, which is a neighborhood grocery store in Richmond. And I'm the manager. I kind of help her literally with whatever she needs help with.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And I'm glad you're able to help your mother in this capacity, right? Oftentimes the children may not want to take on the work of business that the parents started. So I wanted to ask you, what was it that helped to make that decision for you, that this is something I want to help my mother with? What was it about the store? Okay, this is something I could see participating in for a good amount of time.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's a really good point, because definitely agriculture or like owning a store isn't my bag personally at all. However, I just know how essential it is of fresh foods being in the Richmond community. And the neighborhood that the grocery store is in is the same neighborhood that we grew up in, which is Northside Richmond. For those not from Richmond, Northside Richmond is like, there's no grocery stores in that area within walking distance. Like it's, and I guess kind of now me being here in New Jersey and seeing how the Philly, New Jersey area is set up is very similar here, but there's no grocery stores within walking distance. So people are shopping at a corner store. So when my mom decided to open the grocery store, we all were on board, and I have 5 other siblings as well, but we were all on board of helping, whatever way we could, because we realized how essential it was.
Gotcha. Jabril?
Praise be to Allah. I definitely want to start off by giving a shout out to the believers in Delaware Valley, where we are Muhammad Study Group in Willingboro, where our sister and our husband, Brother Abdul, have recently transferred over the last several months. So all praise is due to Allah. And my big bro, assalamu alaikum to you too, bro. One of the things I'd love for you to highlight a bit more is a bit of your background as it's connected to what you do in terms of management. I know we talked a little bit before we came onto the platform about what you bring to the table from a retail perspective as it pertains to, or as it's connected to agriculture. So kind of talk about your background in that regard and and what you do from a management perspective for River City Market.
Yes, sir. Certainly. So pretty much as the manager, and that's like a loose title, like it feels weird to even like say that, but pretty much what I do, I help with grant writing because I have experience in grant writing. So I help with grant writing. I do the payroll. I run our social media. I pretty much anything else my mom needs help with. I help find new vendors, new farmers for us to collaborate and showcase in our store. I assisted my mom with setting up the mobile markets in the community, going out to the community like directly in specific neighborhoods. So just a variety of different things, whatever it may be that she needs assistance with, is what my job is pretty much.
Praise be to Allah. It's like you read my mind. That last part of what you said leads me into my next point. You talked about the mobile market, which I wasn't even aware of. I was going to ask, how do you all work very specifically to combat food insecurity in Northside Virginia? And I'm assuming the mobile market is somehow how you do. Do you do any polls, community surveys? Like, how do you what seems to be any type of pushback or constant problem as it pertains to the quality of food that the residents are able to get, and how do you help contribute to fulfilling that need with what you all do at River City Market?
So we opened back in 2019, May of 2019. So right before, almost a year before COVID hit. And my mom opened the store with a desire to serve the neighborhood, being predominantly Black people. However, the neighborhood is rapidly changing, becoming gentrified. So within the first year, it quickly became, especially because sometimes Black people think like fresh foods is like a, what were they calling it? They were calling us like a, not a Whole Foods, but they thought we were like a supplement store. They didn't
Oh
realize it was
wow.
just a grocery store, because
Hmm.
the fact that they saw like turmeric, they thought it just meant that we didn't carry chicken for some reason.
Yeah.
So we realized that we had to change. And then during COVID, we used to see more of our people coming out, which was great. However, still not as much. We started doing programs like we get 50% off through statewide initiative. We get sent off to anyone produce or fruits and vegetables that shops with EBT. However, again, a lot of the community didn't know. They're still shopping at the corner store. So my mom came up with the idea, well, let's do mobile markets. Let's go directly into the communities. So during COVID, we had already started going into the community, and we were giving out tissue, oranges, water, final calls, whatever like that. My mom did a lot of like community drives at local elementary schools, but now we consistently go directly into one Richmond Redevelopment Housing Authority projects in the North Side, being Jackson Ward. We go into North, which is an apartment complex in Northside Richmond. Lincoln News, we sell on Sundays at the mosque. After mosques, we set up and sell. So we're trying to make it more and more convenient for our people to know, like, this is literally for you. Because again, I think that there was a lot of hesitancy from them thinking like, well, perhaps when they thought we were Muslim, they didn't think we were Black. That could have been it. I don't know. Or as well as them thinking that they automatically couldn't afford it. So now we're making it even further accessible through the mobile markets.
Gotcha. And those mobile markets, are they how frequent are they? Are they just once or twice a week, or like how often are the mobile markets set
Am I freezing or?
You're going in and out, but you're good now.
Okay. So the mobile markets right now, so every Sunday just about at the mosque number 24. And then First Fridays in Jackson Ward, and then First Fridays in North Oak, first and third Fridays in North Oak as well. And then we do like different festivals as well. So like we just did the Eid festival last weekend. Yeah, different things like that too. So easily you could say like once a week, maybe
Hmm.
once a week with the mosque. Yeah, so once a
Okay.
week we're setting up mobily somewhere throughout Richmond.
Oh yeah, I'm all too familiar with the with this is the team will pull up in that big black truck, and she got all the
Ah,
vegetables and the products,
right,
all the FOI coming out to help. When they see that truck, they know what time it is. So
right.
the FOI and the believers of Mama's Muslim 24, we definitely appreciate those mobile markets. I wanted to ask you, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said in the beginning part of the clip that we need to be able to support our Black farmers and build them up so that they can supply the needs of the people in the city. So how have you all established your partnerships with Black farmers around the region so that they can supply their goods in your stores?
Right. So that's been our initiative from the jump. My mom has an agriculture background. She went to Virginia State for agriculture.
Hey,
So state. I
yes.
didn't know that you went to state.
Oh yeah, yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay. I did
Absolutely.
not know that. Wow.
That
Great.
was one of the things that bonded us as the team and I when I was teaching at Ag.
MUI. Okay. Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
back when it was still Respect for Life.
Respect for life.
Right,
Right.
right,
Yes,
right.
sir.
Mhm.
So with her having that background, then and you understand, and then just being in the nation too, she when opening the store, she wanted to make sure that we were collaborating with Black farmers, with Black entrepreneurs. So she sought out a lot of people initially on her own. Like we have East Coast Honey, who is a Black man that makes honey, raw honey from Virginia down to North Carolina. And I even think South Carolina he has hives as well. So super cool. Like I never would have thought like Black people making honey. Really cool. And even now, my mom just actually got beehives on her land to start making honey as well. And then we have a lot of other farmers as well at different times. So people will come in throughout. Like we've had a brother just randomly, but like come into the store that lives in Northside Highland Park that was like, "Oh, I grow peppers in my backyard. Can I sell my peppers here?" And we were like, "Yeah,
That's what's
sure."
up.
We had to check it out and everything, but we sold his
Of
peppers.
course.
And
Right, right.
worked out well. But basically, the desire was to make sure that with making the store for our people, that we were showcasing our people. So
Right.
that video is literally perfect of the minister saying, basically connecting Black farmers with the community because we need each other, And I think that's in like any ministry, really, like whether it's
Yep.
art and science, if it's agriculture, if it's health, if it's education. I think no matter what, we need each other in order for it to work smoothly.
Absolutely. And that's why we got those health screenings starting tomorrow. As you can see, I
Yes,
got
sir.
the
Yes,
plug in
sir.
the back, but I'm excited about that. We're gonna talk about that a little later. But Jabril, can you shed some light on a comment that you saw under one of our reels about somebody had said that we need to help all farmers, not just Black. So but can you expound upon it? Can you ask our sister why it's important to help our Black farmers, especially in this time?
Absolutely. You had froze a little bit. I was like, oh, let me hopefully catch that last part of that comment.
Yes, sir.
So there was a comment under one of our recent posts. I think it was definitely today, and it was like, we have a need for farmers in general, not just Black farmers. And I find it always interesting when people go directly to this all
Froze up.
encompass
There you go.
debt as if that is to say that what we just said isn't true. So, for example, you say someone says Black Lives Matter, you say all lives matter. You still agree that Black Lives Matter, but for some reason that me saying Black Lives Matter means I'm discounting the others. So can you just kind of talk about the importance, because of our specific sojourn here in America, our specific current situation, why the importance of promoting, connecting, and help Black farmers is so important?
Sure, yes, sir. I'm not skipping out, right? I'm
No,
good.
you're good. You're good.
You're
Okay,
good.
cool. Hopefully that'll stay being the case. So I think to that point with that comment, like I remember telling my mom, I think it was last year, there was an article in the Final Call talking about USDA loans and grants and how Black farmers have been taken advantage of through USDA loans and grants from different reasons. Like I mean, it's just stuff that always happens to our people, but it was like interest or them not passing certain protocol that they had to keep in alignment in order to keep the loan or keep the grant, and that not being truthful. And so there's this whole article where Black farmers were basically saying that they're struggling. There's these grants set up specifically for minority groups. However, there's still some gap in discrepancies in terms of them actually getting the full out funding. So I think like just how I think literally period that everyone in the world needs help with or needs healthy food. Yes, that's a given, but I think specifically for our people, and actually like the minister just said on his interview, that with the circumstances that we have been placed under, it's an additional guidance that is needed in order to help our people. So with that, I think the circumstances historically that Black farmers from the beginning of this country have gone through, them being losing their land, being taken advantage of, whatever, it has to be detailed specifically to Black farmers. And that can be hard, like you might be like, oh, well, I'll go to Whole Foods, that's organic, that's local, whatever, but you don't really know where those farmers are from, or even if that's a Black farmer. Majority of the time it's not.
Mm,
So
that
that's
part.
our emphasis of specifically focusing. And of course we have other farmers as well outside of Black, but that is our focus of Black farmers and Black vendors.
Mm. And I'm glad you mentioned that too, like being able to make sure that these
If
these
could I
farmers and
just say
vendors.
something in response to that very quickly?
Good, bro.
Uh, oh yeah, just you brought something up, So I'm down here with my in-laws in Atlanta, and my wife and I have been scoping out a lot of acreage, different houses, things like that for our near future as a family's expanding, things like that. And there's a brother down here. It's an FOI. His name is Brother Ghazi Muhammad. Brother Ghazi and his family sit on 25 acres of land, and they do a number of things to monetize, grow, this concept of being a homesteader or a landpreneur for Black people. One of the things he talks about is his conversations with older, Black people, what have you. There is, quite frankly, a psychological barrier present in the minds of Black people as it pertains to farming that doesn't exist for white people or non-Black people. A lot of us connect farming or working the land to slavery,
Mm-hmm.
point blank. Just exposing people to it isn't enough when it comes to our people. You have to really re-educate and retrain back into the mentality as to why this is needed in the first place. Controlling what goes into your mouth, what goes on your back, where you live, right? That's a big part of your true freedom and sovereignty. We know the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that land is the basis of freedom. And what comes off the land? All raw materials and
Mm-hmm.
anything that you need to sustain yourself to survive. So that's part of the reason why we have to go so hard for ourselves, because we really have to know this, get back to those core and basic disciplines in order to sustain ourselves and really create a future for ourselves and our family. So I just wanted to add on to what you just said so
Yes,
beautifully as
sir.
well, as far as my little piece of experience.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely, absolutely. And you mentioned too, that you all that have a system in place where you vet each product to make sure that it's actually coming from a Black farmer or a Black vendor. So what are some of the things that you use to make sure that this product is actually from people?
Right. So I want to correct
Even if
that.
you
So
before you
uh,
meet before you meet them.
okay, so I just want to correct that. We do have some farmers that aren't Black.
Okay.
So we're not like turning away anyone. Like we have jam from a family in Richmond, Virginia. They're not Black. We're not turning away anyone necessarily that isn't, unless it's like something that doesn't align with the store, like alcohol, drugs, whatever like that. Of course, we're turning that away. However, we are, I should say more specifically, we're very intentional, and that's more so like my mom's bag, but in terms of vetting the products for quality overall, whether it's from a Black farmer, white farmer, whomever, local or not, we're vetting in terms of making sure that we're putting the best quality of products out for our customers in our community.
Absolutely, yes, ma'am. And you mentioned about the collective, right? Being able to work together and unite with one another. One of the reasons I'm doing the health screenings in front of River City Market tomorrow, well, starting tomorrow, is the same reason why you started the supermarket, the store really to begin with, was because of the food desert, the lack of proper nutrition in that area. And there really isn't any proper health care in that area either.
Mm-hmm.
So being able to have two ministries come together, well, three really: agriculture, education, and healthy human services. Having these ministries come together to put on something for our people of service on a consistent basis. How important is that to you, and why must we set aside our differences, like we're always taught, to come together and really do this work that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had told us really to do?
Right. I mean, I think just it's impossible unless we do set aside those differences and come together. Like if you're over here and you're doing your thing and you're like, oh, well, I don't even know. Like, I'm an artist, so I'm going to be over here. I'm a scientist, so I'm over here. I'm over here. I'm over there. It just doesn't make sense. And then, especially when it comes to agriculture, because literally we're taught through the most honorable Elijah Muhammad that we're taught how to eat to live, and that is like at our foundation. So of what we're eating, like our stomachs can be the death of us. So I think I think sometimes that can be hard when people are focused on their own mission, their own initiative. It can be hard to see, wait, but it's still important for me to make sure I go support my sister. Let me make sure I go support my brother. Or let me make sure I just get that information for my benefit, even because I need it. That can be very hard. But I feel like agriculture, 100%, just the same with health in general, doing something like a health screening, that's like that's at the foundation, which also for it to not be any fresh produce in a community that's predominantly Black, it shows us, and I'm sure we've all seen it in our communities or other communities, just how our communities are set up to fail. That you have a billion ABC stores, but you don't have a local grocery store, or you have a Family Dollar, you have a corner store, you can get a cheesesteak, but you don't have like fresh tomatoes, just something so simple as a fresh tomatoes. You can get annihilators more often than you can get water sometimes, spring water.
It's ridiculous.
So I think food period is just at the base. And if we could even have, and I try to even wire my mind sometimes like that, like, okay, this isn't my bag, but I was like, okay, I want to help my mom or anyone else because it's essential for me and for our people of having fresh foods.
And then it makes sense too. Like, you're doing these health screenings and you're telling people they have to eat better. You're taking their blood pressure. You're looking at their vital signs, and you see that they're struggling with just the basic stuff, right? And you're telling them, okay, you need to eat better. Bet, turn around and look at the store behind. Exactly, it's right here. There's literally no reason for them to be okay. I'm gonna take this information. I'm gonna consider that. I'm gonna deal with it later. You don't have to deal with it later. You got screened. Now you can go get the food you need to get these numbers down.
That was a perfect idea that y'all came up with, of putting together all three ministries and having it at the store. That was perfect.
Praise be to Allah. Yes, man. Well, we're coming up on that 30-minute mark. Time for some quick plugs. So we're going to do the Final Call newspaper, a Black business highlight, as well as some other things, family. So stay tuned for more after this.
Now you can get the same uncompromising truth you've come to expect from the Final Call newspaper on all your connected devices. Subscribe to the Final Call digital edition today. Go to subscribe.finalcalldigital.com.
Peace. This is Muslima Muhammad, a future architect, and you're watching The STEM Files.
Praise be to Allah. That was the Final Call newspaper. And bro, what is this week's issue all about?
Yes, sir. We are back with that good news you can use. The Final Call newspaper, the flagship news source of the nation of Islam, a message dedicated to the resurrection man and woman in America and the world. FinalCallDigital.com for your latest digital issue and subscription. Also at Final Call newspaper on all platforms. This week's issue, I gotta pull it back up.
Oh, my fault.
It timed out too quick. This week's issue, no justice. 8 Accra police officers will not face state criminal charges in the deadly shooting of Jalen Walker, sparking anger and disappointment that another young Black man becomes one of the county's countless others who have died in law enforcement. Family, we know, and the Honorable Minister Farrakhan has told us a number of times, it's separation or death at this time. We cannot continue to live with our open enemy and expect that we're going to be treated different, that we're going to be treated as some level of equal, or just quite frankly, just be surprised by what happens to us, and still be at a point where we're asking, or we're coming from a subservient level asking for better. Nature of power is not only to protect itself, but it only bends to superior power. So at what point are we as a people going to provide for ourselves to create true sovereignty and the ability to leverage a position at the table to then chart the course and chart the future that we want to have for legacy for our people? That's the mentality that we have to have. So when you read articles like that, yes, we should feel some level of sadness, but we should be so much more mission minded that how can I not only do for self, can I create a product or service and teach and train my people, orienting that mindset to lend itself to banding together, moving together, and creating a new reality and a new paradigm, because this one is on its way out, regardless if we believe it or not. So
That's right.
with that, if you are in the Richmond, Virginia area, Muhammad Mas number 24. If you are in Delaware Valley, Muhammad Study Group in Willingboro, or Muhammad Mas number 12 in Philadelphia, and you want to get your physical edition of the Final Call newspaper, you can tap in with myself, Jabril Engineer, Tariq Cardiac, Brother Abdul, to get your Final Call newspaper and become one of our various customers. The Final Call newspaper family, get that good news you can use.
Absolutely, family. And at this time, we're going to be doing our Black Business Highlight. And this time it's via We Buy Black, a very popular social media platform that highlights the best and some of the most amazing products that are produced by black people. Check it out.
Peace, y'all. Sharif right here with We Buy Black. I'm standing right next to our beautiful young sister, Zoe, who has a company called Beautiful Curly Me, where she's producing these beautiful young brown baby dolls. I was going to call them doll babies. Same thing. But look, I'm asking all of our parents that are out there to make sure that y'all getting these dolls from our sister. Dolls that look like your children. Now, we talked about this about 3-4 years ago, right before the pandemic. When you went into Walmart and all these other stores, they didn't have no dolls that looked like our community. But the moment that we got online and start talking about it, next thing you know, you saw them in stock. What I'm asking us to do is to get behind the brands that are doing it because it really matters for them. Do the right thing, support our young, beautiful sister Zoe, and make sure you all support Beautiful Curly Me. Your brother Sharif right here with We Buy Black. Support black businesses. Peace.
All right, family. That was Sharif with We Buy Black. Definitely a beautiful platform that he has set up for black-owned businesses. And if you're interested in supporting our young sister, definitely check out the link in the description. Or if you're watching on Facebook, check out the link in the caption. Jabril, do you want to add something to that?
Yes, sir. I definitely gonna have to invest in that. I ain't gonna lie. The hair was all of that.
I got a niece
that
just waiting,
fro,
bro.
that fro was all the way there. All of that.
Right. Absolutely.
Sis got it going on.
Praise be to Allah. Sister Muslima, did you want to add anything to what you saw with the Black Business Highlight?
Not really. I think same. I really like the doll baby, and I've used that website. It's a really good resource for different stuff.
Got you. Yeah, absolutely. I've definitely been put on to a lot of things that We Buy Black has promoted, and inshallah, the STEM files and the things that we produce will be on that platform as well. So let's get back into the topic. We're talking about investing in agricultural business in our communities. You know, let's talk about your background a little bit, Sister Muslima. You have an acting background. You have you spent a lot of time in Los Angeles and in California and really honing in on your craft. I remember when you started and you went out there to do your thing. So talk more about, you know, how you've been able to take some of the skills you've learned from being in the entertainment business and applying it to what you do now at River City.
Yeah, definitely. So I think the biggest thing is that with being an artist, especially I feel as an actor, that you really get to observe life and the many forms of life and the ways that people can live. And so I've been blessed to be able to just be around different kinds of people, observe in a non-judgmental way for the most part. And with that, it really has transitioned well in terms of me being able to help the store when it comes to grant writing. With us being a small business, and we are the only Black grocery store in Richmond. There's another Black grocery store I think in Northern Virginia. But it is very important. Like, we're not a nonprofit, we are a business. However, it's still very important for us in terms of going after grants and getting, financial assistance that way so that we can continue to expand. And so with my background being in acting and being able to observe and everything, I've been able to um understand how to best articulate what our grocery store does and make it appealing for everyone. And so we applied last year for a grant through the state and was blessed to get the grant. And that grant allowed us to be able to open up more to mobile markets, to expand our fresh produce in the store. So all of our produce, and it's been like this since we first opened our doors, but for the most part, everything is $1 on average. So like $1 for a bunch of spinach, like a bag of spinach, or $1 for a bag of broccoli, different things like that. And so with this grant, we've been able to continue on with that, as well as support Black vendors. So my mom switched and we did some different things where we brought on some new vendors. Like now we have 2 different vendors for CMOS. We have we sell the Supreme Bean Pie. We were already doing that before, but we sell more now. We're selling like an average like 30 plus a week of those. And so all of these different things we're able, yeah, I know it's crazy. It's actually wild. But all of those different things we're able to do now through us having this grant. And I know 100% that we were able to articulate ourselves for the grant and make it appealing. And we had to come up with like a catchy phrase, which is the the Fresh Start initiative. And with that is kind of how we started our mobile markets. Well, I don't want to say started, it's how we expanded our mobile markets further into the community through that initiative, encouraging people to take a fresh start on healthy eating. So we came up with a catchy phrase, and my brothers and my sisters helped even with our catchy phrase and with our appeal for grants and everything. But yeah, and I think also too, for me, living in LA and having that experience of seeing like LA is such a place where like you're around so many different kinds of people that are just getting stuff done. And my mom is 100% a doer. So it encouraged me further to like step into that space of just being like, you know what, we're going to apply for this grant. Like at first we were like, there's no way we're going to get the full amount of funding. And then we were just like, let's do it, So it's really just up. Like, who knows what next we will end up doing in terms of expanding further into our community. We're constantly evolving. All praise is due to Allah. Really is a
Yes,
blessing.
ma'am. All praise due to Allah. And I'm here to physically witness how much you all have grown and what you all are doing with the market. My question really is going back to grant writing, right? And I want to see like where your mind is when it comes to writing for grants, right? Because oftentimes, depending on who you're getting the grant from, they may want you to do things their way. So how do you deal with having to adjust, or do you have to even adjust depending on who you're applying to? Do you have to adjust how you're writing the grant, or what you're writing for, the amount, stuff like that? Is any of that, do any of those things change based on who you're asking from?
Definitely. So, I mean, all depending on the grant, you'll have like set criteria of what you are to write about, or what you can request the funds for, how much funds you can request. Oh, that's cool. Somebody put the location to the store. By how
Yes,
many
ma'am.
funds you can request, different things like that. So you kind of have to follow whatever guidelines are within the grant. But then even still within that, like we can adjust our wording. So, if it's a certain kind of grant where it seems like they care more so about the number of people we have served, we will really stress, which is true still, but we will stress the number of people we have served. If it's a different kind of grant and they want to know your impact for the entire state or for the entire country, then we'll stress the fact that we deliver, that we go to mobile markets all throughout, that we have vendors from all over the country, different things like that. So really just, depends on what the requirements are for it. But I think that's a really cool thing about agriculture too, and us being retailers, is that
Right.
it's so vast. There's just so many different ways and lanes that you can go with it. Like we could put in a grant specifically. Well, actually we did. So we have not a grant, but a program. We signed up for a program through the city of Richmond where this starting this summer will be employing like youth from ages, I think it's like 16 to 24, and they'll get the opportunity to learn about River City Market, entrepreneurship, as well as agriculture. So that's different than like a grant or a program for fresh produce, but it's still all within the means of agriculture and especially business. And then now giving them the opportunity to see what it looks like to like bring fresh produce to the community.
Yes, absolutely.
Hmm.
And we're in the ministry. Oh, go ahead, bro.
Now, I'm sorry. As soon as sis
No,
made
we're
that
both
comment,
excited. It's all good.
we're taught in our lessons that the average speed of thought is 24 billion miles per second. So I want to highlight a comment that we had. So I'm here in my brother-in-law's office, right? Brother Rasul Muhammad, and he and his partner have a business called PLC, or Projects Outsource Connects. So literally, he's talking about, in response to what you were saying, you should also connect with the Richmond workforce to use paid interns to help with the market expansion as well as agriculture aspect. A big part of what they do in the city of Atlanta, as well as other areas, is literally connect youth in that same age range you really talked about, to getting them paid, getting them trained. So it's so crazy how you brought that up without even us bringing up the comment,
Knowing,
but that's
oh wow,
exactly the type of stuff he was talking about. So all praise is due to Allah. And I just wanted
yeah.
to say something else really quickly that kind of lends into what you were talking about. For anyone who did not get to see the Honorable Minister Farrakhan speak on Roland Martin's show in regard to Harry Belafonte, there's a couple of takeaways, and it just happened about 7 p.m. Eastern time. Inshallah, should be the main things that jumped out to me that the minister said as far as instructions. He said, one, love yourself, love your people. And he was talking about our loving deep enough to overcome certain faults in our people. And one of the other things he said is his job is to look past the faults of our people to supply the need. And he said, and I quote, suffice the need, crush the fault.
That's right.
One of the faults of ourselves as a people is we're not supplying our own needs, food, clothing, shelter, by and large. Right? We're also not supplying our needs educationally. Well, what are we doing here at River City Market and at STEM Files? We're supplying people with good, wholesome food and raw products, and we're supplying people with nation-building information and education to be able to make conscious decisions for themselves, not only do better, but do something that's going to allow them to be a producer and beyond. So I
Yes, sir.
took that as a charge to not only do what we're doing, but to do it better as we move one step forward, to be able to add to the paradigm shift that our people are going through now and beyond. So praise be to Allah. That was a beautiful comment you made, and I'm glad it kind of allowed me to connect to it in that way.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. And family, I forgot to even say this. Tonight's episode is dedicated to our brother Harry Belafonte,
That's right.
who made his transition to Allah. Was it 2 days ago or yesterday? I think it was yesterday. And for those who don't know, it was yesterday, right? Yeah, it
Yeah,
was
I think it
yesterday.
was yesterday.
Okay. Yeah. So for those who don't know, our brother Harry Belafonte, very pivotal in what's called the civil rights movement. Very close friend to our leader, teaching God, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Our brother, like Jabril said, was very pivotal in how human beings treat each other. So I just wanted to take the time to say that this tonight's episode, for the rest of the episode, really in its entirety, is dedicated to our brother Harry Belafonte. May Allah forever be pleased with our brother. All right, Sister Muslima. I forgot the question I was going to ask you, but
I got another
that
one.
that's just the spirit of the program. We get so excited, and it'll come back to me. But I wanted to ask you, how has what you're doing with your mom's business, with the family business, really, how has this made you a better person, a better MGT, a better wife, a better daughter? How has this created you, given you? How has this made you a better person overall?
Yeah, sir, that's a really good question. I think like being born in the nation, like we take for granted the knowledge that we have and the privilege we have as Black people of knowing so much, such as what to eat, what not to eat. And definitely myself, that was me. So like during the pandemic, I came back from LA and I was helping out in the store. And just a really quick story, I was working in the store by myself. This old dude came in and he was like, "Oh, what's tea?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "What's tea? Like this say tea on it, but what is it?" And I was like,
Mm.
I literally like paused, and at first I was judging him a little bit, but then I had to check myself and humble myself and say, "Oh
Right.
my goodness, like this is why we're here." He literally doesn't even know what tea is, and I love tea. And so then I explained it to him. "Oh, tea. You boil some hot water, you make yourself a cup of tea. We got chamomile, we got mint, whatever, whatever." And he's like, "Okay, okay." Then he asked something else like cabbage, I think. I don't know. It was something that I would have thought was crazy. And he's like, "Well, how do I make this?" And our people come in all the time, like, "How can I make this? How? So what am I supposed to? That's a bean, but it's not in a can. Like, what do I do with that bean? I don't understand. What is that for?
I got
And so
yes,
for
yes.
me, yeah, so for me and me being privileged enough to grow up with parents that were Muslim and that were already exposed to these teachings, it humbles me and makes me realize, like, bruh, this is literally what we're doing. This is literally a means of saving our people. And then furthermore, I think as an MGT, as a Vanguard, as a sister, it shows me, okay, so brothers are selling their final calls, boom, that's cool, that's great. And this can be my place, of being able to educate our community on how important it is of healthy eating,
Come
and
on.
again, being able to humble myself to be able to say, "Oh, well, this is tea, this is cabbage," to the brothers. So,
And I'm glad you said that too, because I'm a big advocate on not stopping at the final call. Jabril and I are proud members of the FOI. We take that paper into the highways and byways of this country and or our individual cities, and we make sure that the people have the paper. But the work doesn't stop at the paper. What we do in our communities is supposed to be the follow up to when we give them the paper. We give them the paper,
mhm,
be like, okay, bet I'm in Richmond. I know there's a Black store in Richmond. I know there's Black healthcare in Richmond. Let me give them the paper and then come behind that and be like, okay, we're actually doing what we're talking about in the paper in the city of Richmond,
mhm,
in the city of Philadelphia, in the city of Willingboro, New Jersey. We're doing what the final call is saying. So I'm big on that. I'm not about, you know, final call, final call, final call, but we're not following up with the actual final call, which is the action. So I
mhm.
want to thank you for being able to find your place in this nation and in this mighty work. You're doing a phenomenal job, you and your family. Um, I'm going on. I'm rambling. Jabril, do you have
No, you're
anything?
not rambling because you done hit me. The spirit done hit me. The spirit
Yeah.
done hit your brother, and
Yes,
now
sir.
I'm about to call newspaper is more than a transaction. The Final
Come
Call
on.
newspaper is a catalyst. It is a springboard. The term, what is the term they use? It's literally like a spiritual gateway drug
I
to
like that.
the follow up nation building activity. So
Come
when
on.
we
Mhm,
propagate the faith with the Final Call newspaper, right after a complete transaction, literally information, being able to get someone out to the mosque meeting, get them to be a return customer, being able to
mhm,
connect with them on an outside event or initiative, right? Connect them to how to eat to live, to the teaching on a deeper level. See, the Final Call newspaper is a conversation starter that allows people to peek into the mind of a student or a striving student in the class of God. And
Hmm.
your ability to reflect as best as possible what's being input, literally shine into that other person, and whether they join the Nation of Islam or not become better for the interaction.
That's
right? So
right.
you can go out, you can sell this, you can sell the bean pie, you can sell number of books, but if it stops there, and yes, you made a transaction, you're not really doing the work. And I love what Sis was talking about as you talked about the system that you go through when it comes to how you bring the products to the people, how you do what you do on social media, how you bring the product to the people. You know, there are core sciences that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says were kept from us, and is further
Come on.
exemplified by the Honorable Minister Farrakhan. He talks about the science of business, the
That's right.
science of warfare, the science of mating, and
That's right.
we've literally talked about all three of those as being of great necessity and very much prevalent
Mm-hmm.
in the business structure of River City Market, right? So, how has your work business, you being on the retail side, your mother being on the agricultural side, delivering these products and services to our people and beyond, further deepen your understanding of those three disciplines, and specifically them being sciences? And yes, that's the fullness of that question.
Yes, sir.
Business, mating, and what was the third one?
Warfare.
Warfare. Well, I'll just start with warfare. I think without a doubt, and it's not even a thought, that we are at war when it comes to things that we eat. The minister said in the clip that you guys played at the beginning that we're more likely to get our food, and we're so in the devil's pocket with where we get our food from. And then in another lecture in How to Give Birth to a God, the minister says, you know, we've stepped away from, as sisters, of cooking in our homes, and now we're tired. We're tired, and we are eating out. We're eating Burger King. We're eating this. We're eating that. But that's a warfare, like health wise as well as spiritually, even
Hmm.
of the foods that we're eating. Like imagining you're literally, sometimes when I think about it, like, you know, when your grandma used to cook, you'd be like, this food was made with love. Like when you're eating at some of these
Right.
establishments, it's literally made with hate. And it might not be direct hate, like it might even be our people that's preparing the food, flipping the burger, whatever. But the food itself is still made with literally hate, you know? So that's that
Hmm.
warfare really right there. And then I think it goes into, of course, business, because then you say, okay, well, how do I make a business, or how can I serve my people and be able to be uh long lasting, which then it needs to become some type of profitable business of serving my people in this industry of food, where it's such a wealthy industry, but on the negative side of bad food. So then I think you think of the business side of it, which then of course again we had to say, okay, well, for us, so we don't have any alcoholic products in our store. We don't have pork, of course. We don't have like marijuana. We don't have even CBD products. You know, we've been approached to do the CBD route, and we don't even have that. But that was intentional of saying, well, this is the business practice that we want to put into place of the things that we will have. And then even furthermore, okay, so we have a black vendor or a black farmer that you know, a vendor that makes soaps, you know, and he aspires to have his soaps available to everyone. Or we have someone that grows the peppers or whatever it may be. How can we assist them in making their and giving them some type of platform? You know, so we require everyone, if you have a product at the store, you have to have a label. Your label has to have certain things on it, blah, 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 blah. As long as you got your label and it's got everything on it, we in business, you know, and so
Hmm.
you can set up shop. So I think, yeah, those for sure come into play with us. And then overall, I feel like my mom is very intentional in terms of, and we're intentional even with the people that we hire to work in the store, of how we're serving our people. Because again, like that matters so much. How we're serving our people in terms of the customers, in terms of the farmers that are at the store, in terms of the vendors that are at the store. How are we handling their products? It's essential. And so then when someone steps inside a River City Market, you know, they're coming out of this environment. Like if you've driven down the street that the store is on, it's a lot going on. Like at any point,
Yes.
you
Yes.
know, someone could be selling drugs in the alleyway on the
Yep.
side. There's like a
Yep.
ABC store right there. There's just so much going on. But how can they step outside of this war zone and then come into some kind of peace being our store?
That's right.
So I think that would be my answer.
Yeah, there's so much
Praise be to
darkness
Allah.
in the north side of Richmond, especially in the black part, that having a beautiful light like River City Market in the midst of all that darkness is essential right now. You know, so we in Richmond, I know the believers appreciate everything you all are doing. We have future customers in the comment section that are going to be stopping by, inshallah. We're approaching the last couple of minutes of the program. Um, we don't have our nuclear reaction tonight. I actually forgot to put that up there, but next time you on, we're going to pick something from social media and we get you to react to it that has something to do with the topic. But we're gonna save that for next time. But
Well, y'all
Jabril,
did
oh,
the comment about the all farmers. That was kind of like somewhat.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
kinda, yeah, same thing.
Look
And
at
you
sis
watch the
helping us
show
out.
regularly because
Yeah,
she
I'm like,
watches the show. She watches the show regularly, so I'm like,
Right.
she knows what we're talking about.
yeah.
Praise be to Allah. Okay, so I wanted to ask you before we conclude. Um, we're big on self improvement, right? You know, we believe in the way the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan has taught us that self improvement is the basis for community development. So, how have you seen the community improve because of what you're doing? Like, just can you give me an example of maybe somebody that you know has been a frequent visitor to the market and you've watched them change over time or watch how they think about agriculture or business in general? Have you seen any changes in the community?
Yeah, of course. I think too many, really, too many in terms of the people that come through the store. One that I can think of, I always remember like the random stories because, again, I don't live in Richmond, so I'm not at the store like 24/7. But there was this dude that came in one day and he was living at a group home in the neighborhood. And he was like, oh, you know, I got this blender. And typically, like, I just be blending up, like, you know, like my drink and like this, that. But instead, you know what? Do y'all take food stamps? And I was like, yeah, we take food stamps. He's like, all right, well, I'm going to get some fruit and I'm going to just make a smoothie. You know what? Because I feel like I'm going to go vegan and I'm going to just start making smoothies. And I was like, we ain't got to go vegan. Like, okay, yes, sir, that's great, you know. And I mean that this is totally making light of the situation in
Right,
terms of
right,
the
right.
question. But I think even just that little nugget to show
Yeah,
that like we planted the seed within him,
right.
which River City Market is the child of True Seeds, which is my mom's overall business. But
Hmm.
we planted the seed within him, which then began to grow. So that hopefully he continued on with his smoothies instead of other things. But we have youth that come in. We have a youth cup and they can come in and get snacks. And all of our snacks for the most part are like healthy snacks. So they can come and get money out of the cup and get a snack. So we see the change there. We've hired different youth from the neighborhood. Different youth, elderly, different age groups, backgrounds, everything of people from the neighborhood. And then I think too, like it's cool with the vendors and farmers from the neighborhood. Well, I don't want to say from the neighborhood, but from Richmond that we've supported. It's cool to be able to see the confidence in them as business owners over time, like those that have been with us for a few years and bringing their products. Like at first they might have started off with like 2 products on the shelf or, you know, not really profiting. Maybe the product went bad before it sold or whatever, but now it's pretty consistent. So it's cool to be able to see like the confidence in them and being able to build up the business entrepreneurship within them as well.
Praise be to Allah. That's a beautiful thing. You know, to see such inspiration come into the people from what you're doing. That's how you
Yes.
know you're doing your job and it's successful and what your goals are. Um, I saw a comment in the comment section saying what time tomorrow. I'm assuming she's talking about the health screening. So I'm gonna go ahead and shed some light on that. So tomorrow, starting tomorrow, April 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern time, we're going to be doing free community health screenings right in front of River City Market. As we mentioned before, it's perfect. It's a perfect partnership. You're setting up, you're screening the people to see where they are with their health, and then based on what you find, you can then turn around and direct them to. We're going to direct them to the market anyway, but it's good that you're having something in place where you can see where people are with their health, and then direct them to the solution to the problems that they're facing with their health. So it's a ongoing opportunity. This is not something that is going to be one and done. This is going to be every 2 weeks, Mondays and Fridays. We may actually move it to at least once a week, but it'll be every 2 weeks from on Mondays and Fridays for now, starting April 28th. This is a consistent thing. We're not going to stop until maybe September, and then we'll find a indoor location. But for right now, it'll be outside, right in front of the store. So please, if you're in Richmond and the surrounding areas, and you want uh, you want real produce in your neighborhood in conjunction with real healthcare in your neighborhood at the same time, please visit River City Market, 16 West Brooklyn Park Boulevard, Richmond, Virginia, starting tomorrow, April 28th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Sister Muslima, what do you hope to see from this partnership?
I think what you said earlier was beautiful, and I hope to see that people coming, and perhaps if you say, "Oh, your blood pressure is 130 over whatever," then they're like, "Well, I don't know what to do. I've been taking my medicine." You can direct them to inside the store and
There you go.
you can eat instead.
There you
Yes.
go.
With that, we have like literally a variety of so much. We have sea moss, we have turmeric capsules, we have black seed oil, we have navy beans, of course. So there's a variety of different things, and we got the final call. So
There you go.
us knowing that stress goes hand in hand with what we're eating, you can also direct them to go and get their free final call if they purchase something inside the store. So
And you have
I'm
copies
really
of How to Eat to
excited.
Live, right?
And we have How to Eat to Live, of course. Yes,
There
sir.
you go.
Both volumes. So yeah.
Praise be
I
to
have
Allah. It's
a
perfect.
proposition. I just came
Go
up
ahead,
with an
bro.
idea. I don't know if y'all had this already, but maybe particularly when you do these events with the screening outside of the store, right? If you're doing any health screenings, right? And let's say people have, a certain reading or what have you that, they want to work on. If there was like a sort of booklet of
Oh, that's a
with
good
specific in
idea.
the store that lower or assists with bettering a specific parameter, and then it could be given to them, and then maybe there's a specific item that's discounted for that day, and then it can help with sales in that regard, as well as education overall for the people and connecting them specifically to something that will assist them right then and there with what they're going through. I also think if you could figure out a way to do this, having this show running
Like on
Oh,
speaker,
during.
tomorrow
like the
before, because
brothers be having.
obviously,
Yeah.
yeah, because you
I like
have
that.
Sister Muslima on, and obviously she's the manager of River City Market. I think that would be
Mm-hmm.
great as well. Just seeing her hearing or seeing her talk about that too. So that would be good. And I'm just thinking of so many things coming to my mind how we can like broaden this partnership as well. I'm just so excited. I'm not even gonna be there. I'm just so excited, and
Well, y'all
I
can
gotta
pull
get
up.
down to
Y'all got to
Richmond.
come back from Atlanta.
That's
Yeah,
true.
you're gonna be
I'm
driving
making the
right by.
trip. I'm making the trip. How look real quick, we like an in-person like tour / interview of the STEM files at River City Market one of these days. Like put some ones
Yes.
in the chat. You want us to
Yes.
like sample some items, ask some real-time questions just as a team, get into that, a hardcore agriculture conversation. How many people will want to
Come
see
on.
that? Let me see some
Drop.
ones in the
Yes.
chat.
Drop the ones in the
Some
comment
ones
section.
in the chat. Let me see some ones. Don't be shy. Let me get some ones.
That is a
I
really
think
good
that'll be
idea,
dope.
Brother Tariq. We'll have to talk about that in terms of like if it's certain things that you'll be screening for and what
Yeah.
we can match it up with what's in the store. That's a
And
really
I'm
good idea.
Yeah, and I'm glad Jabril said that, because what we're going to be focusing on with the screening aspect, right? We're going to be focusing on heart disease and mental health, right?
Mm.
So with heart disease, there's so many foods, and How to Eat to Live alone can knock out heart disease, but there's so many different types of foods that we can get our people on and introduce them to get their pressure down, to help them do a cleanse of their blood or what have you. And we're also going to be having information on how to lower your blood pressure, what are the signs that you have high blood pressure on the table during the screening. So we'll have that as a takeaway information for the people
Okay, praise be
once
to
they get
Allah.
screened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can make that connection too in terms of products in the store. That's a great
Yeah,
idea.
it's perfect. It's perfect. That's a great idea, bro. And I appreciate you for bringing that up. And I knew you were going to say that, so that's why I made sure I was going to promote promote the program. I was like, watch, bro, come up with something dope. Praise be to Allah. All right, family, we at the end of the program. Um, we don't believe in 3-4 hour programs, so we're gonna wrap it up.
We don't have enough
Sister
clout
Muslim.
yet.
I don't know. Y'all got a lot of comments I
Oh
see
no,
going on.
we got the clout. We don't got the time. We don't got the awakeness. Like we gonna start falling asleep at the 2 hour mark. So we gotta keep it going. But thank you for joining us. We appreciate you spending some time with us on the STEM files. Is there anything you'd like to leave the audience with before we go?
Yes, sir. I just want to add in, anyone that's listening, if you're not in Richmond, please still check out our website. We can put it in the chat, but rvarivercitymarket.com. We deliver. When I was living in LA, my mom would send me packages all the time. My mom makes a variety of different burgers: soy-free, vegan, veggie, fish burger, spinach burger, bean burger. Literally, you can have anything delivered flat rate USPS shipping. So we deliver that. We have natural skincare products, from soaps to so much more. We have the MGT dolls for little girls, so many different things. So definitely, if you're not in Richmond, don't be sad. You can always order online and have it shipped to you. And if you are in Richmond, please join my mom and the Believers at Mosque number 24 for a Sunday, and then go shopping afterwards, or stop by at 16 West Brooklyn Park Boulevard. And then lastly, I just want to thank the both of you for having me on. I was super nervous because I'm like, whew, I'm not a scientist, but in reality, I am.
Yes, ma'am.
So in reality, I am. So thank you all so much. And that's it.
And
Praise,
sis,
and
real
before,
quick.
oh, go ahead, bro.
Oh, just real quick, someone. When we are finished, sis, we want to hold you for a few minutes. My brother-in-law actually wanted to talk to you about that nonprofit stuff we talked about earlier in the
praise
in the
be to
show.
Allah. Okay.
Regarding the engaging the youth. So we'll talk about that offline.
Praise be to Allah. And also, we would be remiss if we didn't thank the MGT moms that are responsible for this, really responsible for this program in hindsight. Shout out to Sister Zatima, Sister Muslima's mom. Shout out to my mother, Sister Kubila. Shout out to Jabril's mom, Sister Kimberly. These MGT moms have instilled in us everything that we are today.
Yes,
We would not be registered active Muslims if it were not for them making the decision to be Muslims themselves and carrying on Islam in our family. So we appreciate them for everything they do. All three of them are truly blessings to us and our communities. They have done so much to instill in us Islam and everything that we stand for today. So thank you all.
Shout out to the spouses too, though.
Right. Shout out to the spouses.
Yeah, shout out to the dads.
Right. And the dads.
To the dads. Come on.
All the whole family core of support that each of us have.
Yes, sir.
But I wanted to make that mother's plug because we got Mother's Day coming up, and I want
absolutely.
And but yes, thank you so much, Sister Muslima. We definitely enjoyed your time. If you like to how can people reach out to you if they want to contact you with a question or anything like that?
Sure. So you can email us, trueseedsllc@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at River City Market, Facebook, River City Market. Check out the website, stop by, pull up on us, And yeah, that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, like you're like, oh, do y'all sell this? Y'all sell that? You can send us a DM, or you can always call or email us. And we strive to get whatever products that the community needs.
Praise be to Allah. Well, family, once again, this has been another edition of the STEM Files, where we serve to bring you the best and brightest in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics in the Black and Brown communities. We've done just that again this week. So next week, we're going to be interviewing Dr. Janet Antwi. She's a former HIV research scientist, now a business person. She's going to be talking to us about making her transition from the bench work in the laboratory to her business right now when it comes to helping young people discover their true passion in science. So definitely tune in. Same time, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time, same place. Once again, family, this has been the STEM Files. The voice of STEM talent and Black culture. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Believe in these false prophets, I say I bet he lying. No football, New York City Giants. Girl dad, rest in peace to Kobe Bryant. When we teaching our babies, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. Heavy science. When we teaching our women, we teach them heavy science. Heavy science. Heavy science. When we teach men, we teach them heavy